and some of the things that have worked for me. I mean, once I set a goal, and I encourage all of you to not limit yourself, dream big. Like when I decided I was going to do Ultraman, that was ludicrous. That was insane. If I had run that by, my peers, they would have all told me I was crazy and to pick something more reasonable or rational. And they did think you were crazy, yeah, they did, but I waited until I put some energy behind that before I even told anyone that that's what I was doing. So you have to be, first of all, you have to dream big, don't limit yourself. And when you do that interior work, when you do the meditation, when you do things like the artist way and the journaling and all of that, and those sort of inspirations start to take root, it's important to nurture them and to believe that they're possible, that you should not limit yourself and that you should, basically say, if this is what you want to do, as ludicrous or as crazy or as far-fetched as it may sound, set that goal and nurture it and be protective of it, though. You have to be careful about who you tell it to. You can't just go around telling everyone, especially if you don't have good boundaries and you're easily influenced by somebody else who's going to say, well, that's insane, you shouldn't do that. Well, there's no need to kind of go, oh, maybe they're right, I shouldn't. Like, well, you compromise the energy, too. Listen, most people, unfortunately, like to rain on other people's parades. That's true. So you have to be really careful. So, keep it private for a while, if that's what you need to do, and then start to create a plan around it. And it could be a very long-term plan. It could be a short-term plan. It depends on what the goal is. But, when a goal seems so outlandish and insane, I think that, excuse me, there's a couple things that you can do to start to put it into action. And the first thing that I always do is I start at the end point of that goal. Like, Ultraman is a race that takes place at the end of November every year, so it's on the calendar, right? For somebody else, it might be something that's not set to a specific month or year. But pick a reasonable period, when you think it's plausible for you to achieve that on the calendar, and then work backwards from there and create interim stepping stone goals along the way. That can be really small, achievable, little bite-sized chunks that work you towards that goal. So just because it's easy to conceptualize, let's use weight loss as an example. Let's say somebody's severely overweight and they want to lose 100 pounds because they're very obese. Well, that's a huge goal, right? That seems like that's a big challenge. Right? So how do you do that? You can't just say, well, I'm going to eat better and walk on the treadmill every day. Like, you need to create a real plan. You need to get out a calendar and you need to create those stepping stone goals along the way. So it could be as simple as by the end of month 1, I want to have lost 1 pound. Whatever it is, like start with small, very achievable things, and then when you achieve those, celebrate that. Like give yourself a pat on the back, reward yourself. Go buy yourself something or do something that will gird your resolve and maintain your enthusiasm and keep you going to take you to that next stepping stone. And when you have those stepping stones in place, you don't have to spend that much time thinking about how crazy the big goal is because you're just focused on the next little stepping stone. And it's sort of like that analogy where if you're on the planet Earth and you're setting a trajectory to get to the moon and you're like one thousandth of a degree off, and you get in your spaceship and head towards the moon and you're just ever so slightly off, like you're gonna miss the moon by 100,000 miles. Right? Because when you set on a trajectory and you just continue on that path, it might seem minute at first, but over time, the difference can be vast. So you can't underestimate the power of these little stepping stones. And so that's why I always it makes it very digestible and easy to begin. So that's the first thing. The second thing would be to surround yourself with an environment of people that encourage you and support this dream. And like I said, you have to be protective of your dream and your goal. Like you can't just go around talking about it to everybody, especially if you're influenced by negative thinking people. So be judicious in that regard, but create supportive community around that. Whether it's your spouse, and if your spouse isn't supportive or doesn't believe in you, then find somebody else, find somebody at work, or find a buddy, or find somebody that you can confide in and talk to, who can either do it with you or be your kind of compadre, or your board of advisors or your board of directors as you do that. And also, and this goes back to boundaries, it's about limiting or eliminating completely the people from your life that are not supporting what you're trying to do. Absolutely a huge thing. And this is a lesson I've learned the hard way many times in my life, where not everybody wants you to succeed, unfortunately. And if you're surrounded by those kinds of people, you need to find a way to create boundaries around them where it's not okay for them to talk to you that way, or they're not privy to this part of your life, or you can somehow limit your exposure to them. I mean, look at your boss as a dick, like it's tough, right? But there's strategies and tactics for protecting yourself around these kinds of people so that energy doesn't penetrate and ultimately undermine what you're trying to do. That's the energy field I just gave you. That's exactly what that's for, right? And then at the same time, when you have that supportive community that is a positive reinforcement for you, that creates accountability, right? So when they know what you're trying to do, the more specifically they know what you're trying to do, the better. Like if they know, at the end of January you have that stepping stone goal that you're going to lose that 1 pound or whatever, then you're accountable to them. And that brings up another, I think, important point, which is it isn't just the positive reinforcement, it's also the negative reinforcement. There is something to be said for that accountability of people keeping you honest. Like you don't want to figure out that they're going to know that you failed or whatever. That's the pressure that we're talking about. That's the pressure on the carbon that creates the diamond that I think that you need as a driver, for human nature to move forward, and be on a proper trajectory. Do you not agree with that? Not really. There's somebody who's talking about this. I was hearing about a gym. You know how basically the business model for like a health club or a gym is you pay a fee and then you pay a monthly membership and then everyone stops going. And the only way they can survive is if they're always getting new members that don't go to the gym. Right. So and of course the people that are paying this money, like they're not getting any healthier because they're losing enthusiasm for going. And I can't remember who it was. I think it was Tim Ferriss that was talking about this. But a much better idea for a gym business model would be to I think that it was some kind of like shaming thing where like if you didn't lose the weight or whatever, they put a picture of you up on the wall and they charge you more money. Or you pay them up front, and if you're going, then they start giving you the money back. But if you don't, there's some kind of negative reinforcement aspect to it. That actually get people to actually follow through and do it. Yeah, I think we're on the this is again the edge of discovering a new way, or maybe some alternate ways of achieving goals. I mean, I'm no athlete, and I understand with what you do and with what athletes do that maybe you used to just freak if you missed a training session because you were very aware that X equals Y. Like if you put in these numbered workouts in this manner, then it's going to produce this result. And that's a very tangible, specific thing for you. And I think driving me crazy because I was talking about finding a way to train from your heart just spontaneously, accessing like a higher way of actually achieving, but doing it for the love of it instead of for the pain of it. And Byron Davies, is this the second time I've talked about him on the podcast? Davis, sorry, I don't know. So Rich interviewed Byron Davis because anyway, Byron Davis is a friend of mine. He was an amazing collegiate swimmer. He was almost the first African American to ever make the Olympic team. I think we already talked about it in 1992. Yeah, he was an incredible swimmer. And now he's like a pastor and a life coach, business coach. Beautiful wife, beautiful family, beautiful people. Wife, pro volleyball player. Yeah, gorgeous homeschooling kids. Anyway, I'm sure I spoke about that because I'm kind of remembering. But Byron came in and talked to you about how he learned strength from the heart and how one day he woke up and it was some big race and he had the flu and there was no way that he was racing against someone who was very fast. And he said that somewhere during the race, he just gave it all up. He surrendered. He let it all go. And sometime during the race, something else came into him and he won that day. And he said that I remember being so happy that he was there at the kitchen table because there is some place where the hardness of it all has got to shift into the love of it all. And I don't know how you do that because I see what these amazing athletes do and what you do, and over this period of time, and that will get my body into the place that it needs to be in order to compete at the level that I want it to be at. And if I'm missing those workouts or they're not happening, then yeah, I get anxious because I'm not doing to my body what needs to be done in order to build it to that place. And that does create anxiety for me. But life is bigger than that, and there is a place for finding more joy and not getting caught up in that anxiety in it. So I think that those things are not mutually exclusive. Yeah, they go together. But I feel like there has to be more, and that goes to what we're talking about here, being journey oriented instead of destination oriented. Because if you're not enjoying the journey, then what is the point, or what is it that you're doing? You know what I mean? And it's like the person who, and I talk about this all the time. Forgive me if you read something where I wrote about this, but if you hate running, then don't run. It's fine. If you're trying to be more, if your New Year's resolution is I want to get more fit, but you hate running, then don't run. Go find something else that you enjoy doing. The point is to find greater enjoyment with your physical self on the way towards that fitness, right? And that is the way that you're going to create something sustainable over time, as opposed to reaching that goal of losing 10 pounds and then saying, well, I'm so glad I lost 10 pounds and I don't have to run anymore. Right. But let's talk about, share with me a little bit when you were training for the last ultimate race, and I'm cooking at home with the kids or playing music or whatever, and I just see you leave and come back and I have no idea what you did. Right. And oftentimes we don't even ask what in fact you did, but you were training a lot, I think in the hills on the bike, and your bike performance was really, really happening. The numbers were really good. I don't understand what the numbers are, but the numbers were really good. But you explained to me at one point, because I was like, well, you're on your bike all day, and you explained to me that you were riding so hard, you were riding at the point where you were in like a maximum amount of pain that you could tolerate. Do you remember that? Not really. But did you ride at that level? That's when you were training, you were riding at a level, pushing a level where you were in a lot of pain. Yeah. And so, I'm just asking, so is that necessary before a race, or was that just, every workout has its purpose, right? And not every workout is the same. So every time I go out on a bike, that doesn't mean I'm doing the same thing. So I don't recall that conversation, but it was probably a day where I was doing some kind of tempo work or interval work, where it was, the goal was to sustain a certain threshold level of watts over a certain period of time. And I had like a breakthrough where I was able to sustain a higher level of watts than I'd been able to sustain prior to that. And that means, kind of tolerating a pain threshold for an extended period of time. And that's just part of training, you know what I mean? Like you learn to embrace and love that part of it. And you learn to get comfortable with the discomfort. And that's meditation. As you're going beyond that, it's that sensation, and you become an observer to it rather than all involved in it. It's not that different from yoga, where the asanas are all about sort of preparing the mind for the shavasana, the meditation part, and the sort of postures that you go through, and that rhythm, and that flow of doing those different poses is really about quieting the mind in a certain regard. Like that sort of exertion that's involved with that, and concentration quiets the mind so that when you get to the end and you're lying on your back and you're doing the meditation part, you're kind of ready for that, right? And so in cycling or in running or in swimming or any kind of endurance activity, and those are just the ones I have experience with, I'm sure there's other things, but for me personally, when I'm in that kind of doing that kind of threshold work, or even just the aerobic work, the exertion is like this. It's like this pipe cleaner for your brain. You know what I mean? So like all the cobwebs get blown out, and it's a very pure experience where especially the threshold work, because you are tolerating a certain level of pain, and you're learning to adapt to that so that you can be comfortable with it. Like I said, and when you're in that, it's a kind of a charged state of mind and body. But that does become kind of an active meditation, because you do have to be kind of super present with what you're doing. So when you're training, do you set intentions like during your ride? Do you ever like make a theme for a ride for like the information coming? Like what I'm interested to know is are you taking a moment to tap into that like afterwards, either after by sitting or through intention of like asking like for some concept or body of information to come through, or messages from your soul. Can you please comment on that? I don't think that I do that. But I will say this. I will say that it's sort of like, being burned in the flames. If you go out for a ride and you're going to do some really hard threshold work over like 120, 150 miles, you're going to be on the bike for 6, 7, 8 hours or whatever. It is, when you're done with that, like you're so cooked. Like everything has been burned away. Well, not empty. I don't think empty is the right word. It's plugged in. It's different from that. It's sort of like you've been purified. Like everything negative has been burned out of you, and you're in like this pure state. It's beautiful. I know. I love you after an ultra marathon. And that's a very addictive feeling, I will say. It's the same for a super long run. Yeah. And that's why, as I, over the years, my sort of threshold for, my body has become increasingly more efficient at bearing the training load, right? So when I first started training for Ultraman back in 2008, it was like, even a short run would take a lot out of me, and then as you become more and more efficient, your body gets more and more used to this kind of training load and this volume, going out a long run doesn't necessarily do it for you anymore, like you have to go longer. So as an addict, it's like, that's perfect, right? Like, not anymore, the danger is you start to chase that dragon, but you do need, like, you do have to go out longer and longer in order to get that feeling, that aesthetic, purity kind of feeling that I think I'm always seeking when I'm doing it. I'm just wondering if you get to the next level and you actually program some of your rides and your trainings, if you could be looking for that thing that Byron was talking about. It's something when he surrendered and he let go, like I'm not going to solve it, then something came in and in fact propelled him farther. So I would be interested to see if you did what you do, which is beautiful, which is powerful, amazing practice, but then take it up a notch and either before your training or during your training, dedicate your ride or your training to a specific intention. Or let's say you want creative inspiration for your next book, or you say with intention to your soul, please provide me with this, and I'm going to dedicate this ride to that. And then you let go and you do your thing and see if something comes in. Alright, well, I'll try that. Maybe. Yeah, might work. Oh, poor guy. Next podcast. Next podcast. Yeah, no, that's a good idea. Let me try that. Yeah, it could be anything. It could be finances. It could be increased performance. Call in the energy that is outside. You're not just a physical body. Okay, call me crazy, and I'm not going to quote a bunch of science because I'm not a scientist, but you can look it up. I can call you crazy. You can call me crazy. You won't be the first. But so ask for that extra thing outside of yourself to come and assist you. And it's the same thing like when I'm teaching warrior pose, and give them my yoga class in a few weeks. But when we're in warrior, I just hold that for a pretty long time, very, very, very long time. And then if you turn your palms up, and I'm speaking of warrior 2, right? When you turn your palms up and you just make the intention that you're going to allow something to hold you up, you'll feel an energy holding your arms up. And suddenly you've taken yourself out of it to a certain extent. So I think there are some interesting combinations to play with in that, with the training that might enhance performance. I'll check it out. Check it out. Back to goal setting. So where were you? Hello. No, I liked it. I love your goal setting. You're so focused, and you're actually quite skilled at it. We were talking about interim goals, stepping stone goals, and the other thing I want to creating community and accountability. I think the other thing that's important to bear in mind is that we're human beings, we're not perfect, and you're going to fail, you're going to misstep, you're going to miss a workout, or you're going to not achieve that next stepping stone goal, or whatever it is. And as human beings, it's natural to get deflated or disappointed, or lose enthusiasm, say this is too hard, and I can't do it, and I don't want to do this anymore, just forget it. And I think that's particularly true with people that are interested in experimenting with a plant-based diet. They're like, oh, moving forward, as opposed to just forget it. Yeah, doing it in absolutes is very not helpful. No. Very confining and judgmental. Right. And violent and actually, well, I tried that, but it didn't work for me. Well, what didn't work? Like, you made a mistake. Well, congratulations, you're a human being. You know what I mean? And I think that prevents people from who might benefit or might enjoy or might experience, traumatic health benefits from checking out a plant-based diet, from even considering it, because they're saying, well, I couldn't do it, so I'm not even gonna try. Or I tried for a couple days and it didn't work. So I think it's important to give yourself permission to fail, and greatness only comes with failure. You have to fail in order to achieve. And the greatest successes in the world in every field probably failed 1,000 more times than they succeeded. So it's giving yourself permission to fall on your face. And it goes back to the Icarus thing that we were talking about. It's like you have to dare to fly to the sun, in order to get to the next level. And you're gonna, maybe your wings are gonna melt, but then you build some new wings and you get out of it again. And I think when you're in that mentality where you're not afraid to fail, or you're willing to fail, and that kind of failure and setbacks are just part of the process, as opposed to the one thing that you're gonna shame yourself for, or whatever, that you're going to be more successful. Yes, absolutely. That's wise. That's it. That's all. What else? I don't know what else. The other thing that I can add to that is that that's why it's called practice. It's like how many times, it's not like suddenly you achieve something and then you're there and you're static. You're always moving. So life is a process of becoming, and so you may have to make that same decision to forgive over and over and over again. We're becoming, right? So yeah, and you can be born anew in each moment, and so you can decide in each moment to be non-judgmental, to drop the judgment towards yourself, towards everyone, towards yourself, absolutely, and towards everyone else. I mean, how about we just be gentle with ourselves and others, and allowing, and really, how can you sit and judge another person's process? You are not that person. You are not that being. You do not stand in the exact circumstance. History, karmic lineage, soul path, energy. It's really just not useful, not helpful. We're talking about goals. I know. And you're talking about going off on a tangent. You can't keep talking about goals. You can't keep focused on the what did you just say about goals? I said allow yourself to fail. Yeah, right. And I said, because you said don't throw in the whole towel. Right. And was that like too far of a leap? I don't know. Alright, well, go to your next point on your paper. Is this point 5 or something? Go ahead. I have one more point. Okay, I'm ready. You'll love this one, actually. I'm ready for it, which is to check your ego at the door. And don't make it about yourself. So tie that goal to something greater than your little goal. Like make it broader than that, and not make it about yourself. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more? Well, I think you see people do it in endurance sports all the time. Like they're going to do an Ironman, but they're going to raise money for a charity or something. Right, Like they don't just make it about their thing. They bring something else into the equation that makes it richer and more valuable in a broader sense than just their one little accomplishment or thing they're trying to do. But if it's your first one, then you can make it about yourself. Yeah, absolutely. When you get first one, your first race. You do that. I just think it's better if you don't. I think it's better if there's a higher purpose to it than just you. Definitely. I agree. You agree. Nothing more to say about that. That's really it. And I think that the other thing is to do kind of like what Julie was saying, which is to not be overly rigid and to learn to flow with it. So let's say you're coming up on that stepping stone goal, it's your third or fourth stepping stone along the way, and you're not going to make it, and being gentle with yourself and saying, okay, well, I didn't make it this time, but I'm not going to allow myself to be discouraged. I'm just going to flow with it and rebuild. So it's being structured in the sense that you will get out the calendar and create that schedule and that program, but also allowing yourself some flexibility within that, because life doesn't always flow according to a perfect schedule and calendar. And that gets back to what you were talking about when I would miss a workout and I would get frustrated and angry, and it's been a journey for me to learn how to flow with that and be more malleable than I would like to be. Yes, and you're doing a fine job with that, anyway. So yeah, definitely transformation going on for all of us. The final one that I think everyone should do in 2013. What's that? Eat more plants. Yeah, eat more plants. Definitely. It all starts with what you put in your body, people. Right? Right. No, but it's been so extraordinary being here at Calm Ground, and we understand that not everything can be in Hawaii, and we don't take it for granted even 1 second that we're here. One of the really amazing things has been that we're kind of secluded and isolated, and we're vegan, predominantly vegan in our family, except one of our girls eats a couple eggs once in a while, or she can actually stop eating and she's eating yogurt or something. But mostly we're vegan, and so I've had to really focus around the kitchen, and so I would say our diet has gone up a notch really as a family since we've been here. It definitely has, and just because we eat a plant-based diet doesn't mean that we're super perfect. Like when we're in LA, we shop at all the normal grocery stores, and I like potato chip once in a while. We haven't had much chips. And we're here in the remote North Shore, like we're eating food that's grown from the field right across from here, and we're just sort of being more self-sustained in our little environment here, and my nutrition has definitely improved, and our meals have gone up, and the nutritional value of the foods that we're eating because they're locally grown and the way that they're harvested here, I feel a difference, and it feels good. Yeah, and we were helping out in the field today, and all the kids were washing kale and harvesting carrots and radishes and chard, and it's pretty awesome. I really feel like this year for a lot of us is going to be learning how to grow our own food, and that's whether you're in a city or wherever you are, however you need to do it, but that's going to be something that I'm going to enjoy getting deeper into. I think it's important. And today I tweeted an article by Mark Bittman, who's a Western New York Times on food, and he wrote a great opinion piece today about how our food system has to change. But it was very level-headed in the sense that he's saying it's not going to happen overnight. Like, this is a long process, and they realized that tobacco caused cancer like 200 years ago, but it wasn't until 1964. But there's a correlation between tobacco and cancer. Like they figured it out a long time ago, but it wasn't until 1964 that anybody kind of started to even say it publicly or doing it. These are movements that take a very long time, and I think that there's general awareness that our food system right now is not sustainable for health reasons, for ecological reasons, for economic reasons, for all these reasons. But there's no easy fix, and there's no consensus on how to fix it. Like there are no clearly articulated, stated objectives right now about how to change it. But this is just a groundswell movement, and it's going to take some time. And I think that that's wise and true. But we all can take responsibility for that. And one of the things that we can do, you and I can do, we can we were going to end up like losing money on it. And also it's also just the safety and all the, just to do it right, to make sure what we're offering to you is the right caliber, you know, what we want, and make sure that it's the right thing. So it just took us a little while to get that mixed together. Well, so ultimately we decided not to come out with a product for those reasons. So I get a lot of emails that I read the book and it says go to Dry Lifestyle, find the cleansing program and all of that, and I can't find it, and the reason is because it's not there, so we didn't do it. So, but the good news is that Julie and I are in the middle of creating a series of premium, high-quality videos that will take you guys through a 7-day fruit and vegetable juice cleanse, soup to nuts. Our first shooting day is tomorrow, and it's going to be quite the production. This is going to be a really cool thing. We're going to be very, very detailed. We're going to go through each day. Here's how you're going to do it. Here's what you're going to eat. Here's how you're going to feel. And literally, take all the second guessing out of it. And we're going to provide you with all the information and the links to the products that you're going to need and all that good stuff. So we're looking forward. We're going to do it right along with you. Exactly. So it's going to be a couple months before we get this thing started, done, and it would be great to have it available in January 1st. I know everybody, this is the time where everybody wants to start fresh and tabula rasa and all that kind of stuff. But it's just taking more time. So it's going to be a couple months before. Yeah, the naturality. I mean, once you get the hang of it, you'll be doing it like 4 times a year or 3 times a year, and then it sort of just seeps into your lifestyle and then your diet sort of shifts. So it's it's really sort of like a long-term wellness lifestyle thing. It's not like you would just necessarily do it once and then be done. So right. So look for that in 20 months, and we'll keep you posted on how that unfolds. But if you're confused and you've been going to Dry Lifestyle looking for that stuff, you're not finding it. We're sorry, that's why. But the other good news is that our vitamin B12 spray, spray finally is out. It took a little while to get that configured and ready, but we're really excited about that. If you're on a plant-based diet, it is incredibly important that you supplement with vitamin B12. In fact, most people, irrespective of diet, have been found to be vitamin B12 deficient. So even if you're eating the standard American diet, there's a chance that you're vitamin. If you're not sure, just go to your doctor and get a simple test and find out. But if you are eating a plant-based diet or a predominantly plant-based diet, you need your B12. You need it because it is the one nutrient that is not found in the plant kingdom. So you must supplement with it. This is a spray, and it's just one spray in the mouth, and it has a really good taste. I know this is sort of irritating here. It's just a spray. One spray is all you need, and the kids love it. And we use it every day, actually. Yeah, for sure. You can get, and I talked about this in the book too. There's a lot of foods that are supplement that have vitamin B12 fortified, like breakfast cereals and almond milk, coconut milk, stuff like that. But the kind of B12 that they're using is not a very easily metabolized version of it. It's one that has to be processed by the liver to create the methylcobalamin, which is the pure form that we're using, and that's an inefficient process. So our spray is methylcobalamin. It's the purest form. Your liver doesn't have to go through some intricate biomechanical process in your liver. It's already bioavailable to you, and so it's top-notch product, and we're really proud and happy to offer it to you. It's only $20, so check it out on Dry Lifestyle. And what else do we have? If you want to check out Julie's music, go to srimatimusic.com, SRIMATI music.com, and on Dry Lifestyle we have our cookbook. So New Year's Day, you want to start getting going on your plant-based diet, you can check out our digital download e-cookbook, 77 pages of awesomeness. So that's great. And if you want to check out the meditation and the energy healing technique that we discussed at length today, you can download that also off of our website. It's actually not that easy to find. You have to go on the first page and then find meditation, and then click on meditation, and then it's behind that. It's called Jive Release, and it's a 30-minute program. It has 2 of my original songs on it, and a humming. So it's a 4-step. You hum. There's a Ganapati mantra, which is the Ganesh remover of obstacles, which is a wonderful energy to call in the new year with. And then there's the tree seal visualization, which you just listened to. And then there's a song called Mother of Mine, which is the title of my debut album, which is also on this program. So the whole thing is 30 minutes. You can just put it on your iPod. There are instructions, and then after that you just do the 4 tracks. It's around 30 minutes, and I would be very interested to hear your results after doing it for, let's say, 40 days in a row. 40 and not 30. Well, because, I don't know. I mean, 20 could make a big shift, but it's just if you just get consistent. So, like, some days you're going to be distracted, some days you're going to have monkey mind, some days you're going to feel really deep. But if you just take it up as a practice and don't judge it, and it's all there for you, it's a pretty pleasant meditation practice to sit through. And what it will do is clear out any residue from the humming, supercharge you with Ganesh's energy, the remover of obstacles, and seal you in your own energy field and connect you to your divine purpose, and then bless you with a little love of the Great Mother. So it's a pleasant 30 minutes, and if you do it for a month or 40 days, you will see transformation in your life. I certainly did in mine. Alright, so check that out. Julie needs Twitter followers. I do. I see you on Twitter, JISBEB. Follow me. Yeah, and I'm at Rich Roll. You have enough followers. Okay. And also you can follow me on Instagram at Srimati, SRIMATI. Yeah, that's right. I'm Rich Roll on Instagram. And Rich has some awesome photos. I would highly suggest that if you're kicking off your new nutrition regime for 2013, that you consider a Vitamix purchase. Oh yes, absolutely. It's an expensive blender. I understand that. It is not cheap. But it is life transforming, this thing. Now, I couldn't live without it. I know we travel with it. It's an amazing contraption. I don't make juice or liquid out of literally anything. You can make everything from pasta sauces and soups to your smoothies to everything. What I made this week, I made homemade tomato sauce, homemade mole sauce. I made a strawberry cashew cheesecake last night. I made an amazing coconut, kale, mango, chia, hemp smoothie, which I prepared in it this morning. Right. And mushroom gravies. I made pesto in it. All kinds of stuff. You can literally make anything. So the point is, yeah, you should think about doing it. And if you are if you are ready to make that purchase, you can click the banner ad on richroll.com. On the homepage, there's a Vitamix banner ad, and you'll get free shipping. If you want to buy it off Amazon, just click through the Amazon banner ad at richroll.com on the blog page or podcast page. We'll throw a few nickels in our pot to keep this thing going. And actually, if you're going to buy anything on Amazon, we would appreciate it if you click through that banner if you want to support the show. It would help us out a lot. Oh, you know what? If people want to check out some Vitamix recipes, they can go to my YouTube page. It's Rich Roll 66 on YouTube. We have a whole bunch of videos of us making stuff, and we use the Vitamix, post-run workout stuff, mushroom gravy, holiday cooking, all sorts of things. That'd be cool. Yeah, you can do that. And what else? That's it. Don't forget to check out Common Ground. These wonderful folks that have been so welcoming to us here. And you can Common Ground Kauai. The website is cgkauai.net, and learn a little bit more about what's going on this beautiful organic farm on the North Shore of Kauai. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Okay. So thanks for having us. Thanks for listening, you guys. We really appreciate it. We wish you a very happy, prosperous, goal-oriented, not so goal-oriented 2013. Happy New Year, everyone. And again, I got some great guests coming up when I get back to LA, so please stay tuned for that. I'm going to be bringing you the best experts in plant-based nutrition, physical training, fitness, all sorts of stuff, so stick around. All right? Peace. Plants. their peak range, and that ranged from 1.7 to 11.4 percentage points. So it seemed like the overall mean of all the patients they used was, higher, as I said, but there was some difference between the percentages. In terms of the patients that were there, Yeah, there was. And then those things are used, the I know and day 4 was also, by the way, hackathon, but it was also just a complicated, you know, the variables or something. Not too closely. Yeah, so they use height, weight, and your own dose. And of course, temperature and height. So compare that with what they use for the code. So yeah, the code's a lot less specific. Yeah, basic. So if you want to compare two different groups on dosing strategies, how many different variables you want, or how many variables you want to different between those groups. How many independent variables. Probably want less. You just want one, yeah, because that's more confounding. Yeah. So if you're dosing based on height, weight, and neuron, then one group, not another. Although if you actually relaxing also now.
Yeah.